Thank you for joining us for this episode of Carols We Love to Sing.
We've got another intriguing story behind our carol this time, and we're going to hear from Andy Cresswell, a member of the Angmering Chorale, who told us about why he loves singing carols in the choir. And we're going to think about the words of the carol as well, how they help us to understand the joy of this season. There are so many popular carols. Earlier on, we asked you if you had a particular favourite carol and why.
I like a lot of them, but I think probably I'm going to say Adeste Fideles, because we did it in Latin. We learnt the words for it in Latin, and I cannot resist when we sing O Come All Ye Faithful. I can't resist doing the verses I know in Latin, I'm afraid. And it's got special memories.
Oh, my favourite one is Hark, the Herald Angels Sing.
And what do you like about that one?
I think it's extremely joyful. You can really belt it out.
Christmas isn't going to be quite the same this year. But did you know that if you lived in England from 1644 to 1660, you weren't allowed to celebrate Christmas at all?
Why was that?
Oliver Cromwell stamped it out, including a ban on singing Christmas carols.
So kind of like a Christmas lockdown.
Well, I'm not sure about a complete lockdown, but certainly not many carols were written during the late 17th century and early 18th century.
Have we got any from that time?
We do. Actually, one of the best loved carols we sing today was written during this period. Hark, the Herald Angels Sing. We asked people about their favourite carol, and several people told us this carol was their favourite.
My favourite carol is Hark the Herald Angels Sing. So I really love that one.
What do you like about it?
I don't know. I think partly it's like the tune, the words "Born that man may no more may die," born to give them second birth. I'm probably remembering it a bit wrongly because you usually only sing them once a year, don't you? But things like that. They're really, really. I think it's such a good memory of what Christmas is all about, really, about Jesus coming and that he's come to bring us second birth. So.
When I was a kid, that was definitely one of my favourites too. Our family went to church at Christmas and at Easter, I think, and that carol's definitely on my top 10 favourite list still. I love the words and I love the tune as well. It's so Christmassy and jolly. Now, we discovered there's another story here though, how the words of Hark the Herald Angels Sing came to be sung to the tune that we know so well today.
Yes, Charles Wesley wrote the words to Hark the Herald Angels Sing in 1739. But Wesley insisted the carol should be sung to a slow, sombre tune. And as a result, it didn't prove very popular at the time.
But the tune we use now, that just fits perfectly. It's kind of like a fanfare, isn't it? Glory to the newborn king. Now, here's the fascinating thing about the tune that made the carol so popular. The music that we use, the jolly tune, it was written in 1840 by Felix Mendelssohn.
But he didn't write it for this carol, did he?
No, he wrote it to commemorate the invention of the printing press.
That's got to make a good question on a Christmas quiz.
I'll say. But he also said very strictly that his music should only be used in a secular manner. It was not for religious purposes. But that's odd in a way, because the song lyrics about remembering the printing press were mostly about thanking God for the man Gutenberg and his God-given talents that enabled him to invent the printing press in the first place. Anyway, that means that we've got the words, which Wesley said have got to be sung to a slow, sombre tune. And we've got the jolly tune that Mendelssohn said was not for religious purposes. But then in 1856, one bright spark called Dr. William Cummings ignored the wishes of both of the men, who are by now deceased, and he joined Wesley's words with Mendelssohn's music.
And the result is the carol we sing today. It goes to show how the musicality of a carol is so important. I spoke to Andy Cresswell, a member of the Angmering Chorale, about that. Okay, well, thanks so much, Andy, for joining us on
Thank
Carols
you.
We Love to Sing. Now, you've been part of the Angmering Chorale. Can you tell us how long you've been in the chorale for?
Yeah, I joined in 2018, so relatively new to it.
Yeah.
Certainly compared with some of the members.
Yes.
And I joined when they did the Messiah up at Arundel Cathedral. I've always wanted to sing the Messiah in full, and so yeah, it was a really good opportunity to do that.
Do you have a particular favourite carol that you?
Yes, I do indeed. It is a very well-known one, "O Come All Ye Faithful."
Ah, yeah.
Because, I mean, I love singing the whole thing, but particularly the last verse.
Yes.
Which we don't always get to sing, because it's "Yea, Lord, we greet thee, born this happy morning," and
yes.
it's because, you know, you only really are supposed to sing it on Christmas morning.
Yes.
And when you're in a big congregation or choir and you're properly going for it, and you've got the organ playing the variation which organists love to do on the last verse of various hymns and carols, they play a different harmonization which goes with the melody, but it's really powerful.
Yes.
And I grew up in Wales, and I used to go to a church in Wales and be a member of a choir there, and the as you know, Welsh people have a real passion for singing.
Yes.
And they really let rip on that last verse, and so it always, whenever I hear it, whenever I sing it, it just, I get goosebumps. You know, it's my favorite carol by far, I think.
So it's the sort of power of that last verse.
Yeah, and the joy as well.
And the joy,
I think because it's Christmas Day, you know, it's that kind of it's the sheer sort of joy of singing it.
Yes. And singing it with others as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Joy. And it's all about, that's why it's been difficult lockdown not being able to sing with it. You know, I sing at home, and occasionally they have these choir things on Zoom or online or whatever, and they're great, but there's nothing quite like singing it with other people.
Yes.
And,
and I guess the sense of when you get the harmonization of the voices, that's when you get the increased sense that you're singing with others.
Yeah.
You're not just sort of making your own noise.
And everyone's got the same intent, if you know what I mean. Everyone's sort of supporting each other.
Yes.
And it's great to be part of that.
Bit like scoring a goal in football, I guess.
I suppose so, but it's more like, but maybe more like scoring a try from from a maul. So everyone's pushing together, and you have like a group effort. A goal's more of an individual thing, but if it's more,
do you
know what I mean? It's a big group effort to get this done. And when there's absolutely nothing like being part of a collective like that. It's so good. It's so good for people, I think, singing anyway. And it's been proved, I think, by many people that singing is very good for you. And singing in a group is even better. I mean, like when people sing Happy Birthday, people generally sing it quite rousingly, because they know the tune, so they're not scared of trying it. You know, so I think that's the same with carols. You know, I just look forward to the time when we can again.
Yeah, hopefully not.
We'll sing even louder.
Yeah, absolutely. Make up for lost time.
Yeah, exactly.
Having heard that, I could quite fancy being a part of a choir. The thrill of singing carols with others, and the sense of having a common goal.
I think we should talk a little bit more about the words of the carol.
Sure. Like people said, the words of this carol are so rich in meaning. Veiled in flesh the Godhead see, hail the incarnate deity. Pleased as man with man to dwell, Jesus our Emmanuel. We like leaders who are one of us, not who stand above us. We're suspicious of leaders who seem aloof, concerned to increase their wealth or further their own interests. But God isn't like that. These words are saying that God became one of us, hidden in flesh, but visible to us. God in a body. That's what incarnate means, in a body. And Emmanuel means God with us.
So this is the wonder that the herald angels were announcing. In Jesus, God himself stepped down into human history and lived with us. He came down to our level as part of his plan to have a people belonging to him, for you to belong to him. So the herald angels announce, "Glory to the newborn King, peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled." You can read that in Luke's Gospel, chapter 2. It tells the whole nativity story there, including the angel's announcement.
Wesley explains the reason Christ came in this carol. Light and life to all he brings, risen with healing in his wings. Mild he lays his glory by, born that men no more may die. Born to raise the sons of earth, born to give them second birth.
People often say, don't they, you only have one life, you've got to make the most of it. Well, I'm sure we've all got various regrets, things we wish we had done, or things that we just wish we had done differently.
This carol reminds us that God gives us the option of a second chance. Jesus was born to give us second birth. A new life is possible, forgiveness, reconciliation with God, and a life which goes on beyond the grave. As Wesley penned it centuries ago, and as people have been singing with joy ever since, he was born that men no more may die.
This is such good news. It's good news that's really worth exploring further. It's good news that's really worth celebrating this Christmas time. It's good news that's really worth singing about.
Thank you for watching. Please do join us again, but let's now join with King's College Choir for Hark the Herald Angels Sing.